Hello everyone and welcome back. Wintertime has showed back up for us here in western North Carolina. It's low 30s, bright sunny clear, cold north wind. It's supposed to be down in the lower teens tonight and be cold the remainder of the week. But the last couple videos are kind of the gist of most of the last videos have been on farm equipment, and we're going to talk more about farm equipment today. But you know, we're going to talk about a little more needs in farm equipment. So what is farming? So farming, we're probably getting some wind here, so let me step in here. Farming is you're trying to produce a crop, whether it be cows or a vegetable crop or a fruit crop or whatever. You're trying to produce a crop and sell it and make money. Simple enough, kind of. But that, in the gist, that's what you're trying to do. Now, the equipment we use makes that job more efficient, more profitable, and easier. That's the reason to have farm equipment. You can go out here with a spade and till up a spot and plant the seeds and hand hoe it and everything. You can do that, but once you reach a certain scale, unless you have a lot of manpower and a lot of time, then you have to start adding equipment. Then you may step up to a horse or a mule, a garden tiller, you know, and then a farm tractor, and then of course the implements to go with it. Now, a lot of times we as farmers, and I say we because we're all in the same boat, we get a little carried away on our equipment purchases. We like equipment because it does what? It makes our job easier. You know, it makes it easier. It's a lot more fun to spend a day riding around on a farm tractor than it is following a horse. Trust me, I've done them both, and I'm going to tell you that's a lot more fun. It's a lot easier, and it's a lot more efficient. If you want to use a horse, that's fine too. But so when you start farming, you know, depending on what you're doing, there's certain things that you'll need. You know, if you're farming a certain scale and you're growing a certain crop, there's your basics, if you will. You know, for instance, a tractor. And if you're doing field crops, you'll need tillage. If you're doing hay crops, you'll need hay equipment, and so forth and so on. Then you get, so you'll have your basic tillage equipment, your plows, your discs, your tillers, your shank plows, whatever. Now, if you're doing no-till, of course, you'll need no-till seeders and so forth and so on. So you run into, you know, different equipment. You know, for instance, we got the 2-row corn planter sitting here. If you're growing 10, 15 acres of sweet corn, you know, you need a mechanized planter. I could use a 1-row. It would make it less efficient, etc., etc., etc. I could use a 4-row, which would make it more efficient. The reason I don't have a 4-row is my fields are smaller, and you know, trying to work it in can be a little more difficult. And the cost of the initial equipment on the 4-row was quite a bit more than the 2-row, so we went with the 2-row. That best fits my needs and my current operation. Now, in 5, 10, 20 years from now, I'm growing 150 acres of sweet corn. I won't be able to use the 2-row corn planter. I could if I had plenty of time and everything, but you know, it won't work as well. So, you know, and I know there's some wind. We come up to this implement. This is a Bush Hog brand 7-foot scrape blade. Very heavy built. It's 9007, I think is the model number on it. Now, let's talk a little bit about this piece of equipment. Is this one of those absolute necessary pieces of equipment for my operation? No. Is it extremely handy, and do I use it quite a bit? Yes. I use it to scrape the driveway. I use it to push snow in the wintertime. I use it to dig stumps out of fields or rocks out of fields. I use it to cut ditches, pile up brush, etc., etc., etc. Scrape manure, so forth and so on. Could I get by without it at this point? Probably, yeah. I could get by without it. It makes some other chores a little more difficult, but I could get by with it. Now, this particular bush hog, when I bought this scrape blade, when I bought this scrape blade, 10 or 12 years ago, I guess it was now. It's been a while. Yeah, I guess so. These things retail for about $1,800 new. Okay. Did I pay $1,800 for it? No. I found it on Craigslist, and it was priced at $550, and I don't know that it had ever been used. A gentleman had bought it. He had like a 5-mile long gravel driveway. He had bought it and a box blade at the same time, and he said, I think he said he hooked to this once and used it. The cutting edge on the blade had not, you could tell it hadn't been used. But he preferred the box blade for what he was doing. So this guy was, he wasn't farming or nothing. He was just and he said it's set in the weeds. It was 150 miles away from me. I called him and said, I'll take it. And I went and bought it. I went and got it, and it served me well. Would I sell it for $550? No. That's the thing. Well, what I'm talking about is there's a lot of pieces of equipment that you can put a lot of money into really quick, that a lot of times the benefits of that equipment to your operations are not worth the cost. So that seems to be the number one area where we spend way too much money as farmers, is on our equipment. Now, I've got 2 tractors that I use, and for years I used one tractor, this John Deere 5205, or before it I borrowed my dad's Oliver 1365, which I need to do a video on that tractor sometime. But I used this one for years, but as my operation expanded, basically I couldn't get it all done with just one tractor, so I added another one. Once again, I didn't go out and buy a brand new piece of equipment. I went and bought a used one. So for what I've got in the 2 pieces of equipment, I know I couldn't buy a new one for what I've got in these 2 to replace both of them. That is one of the few pieces of farm equipment that I bought new, that John Deere. So most of it's used. So if you are looking for, and I like to call them the luxury pieces of farm equipment, look used. Take your time and try to find them. They're out there. You can find these pieces of equipment, and they're you just have to look for them. But be careful. I mean, before you buy a piece of equipment, stop and think. If you're do you really need such and such? Do you really need such and such? Makes your life a little easier a lot of times, but sometimes you can get by without it. So that's something to keep in mind. It's something that I've tried to focus on as I farm, but I don't have a lot of equipment. It's just like the turning plows in the video the other day, the Ford 101 plows. Those were my dad's, and I got them off of him. I knew the plows, so I plowed with them for years. But anyhow, he bought them used. He didn't buy them new. So a long time ago. But you know, as you move forward, think about it. Now, there's always specialized equipment like the corn planter that, you know, gets very little use. $2,500 worth of corn planter sitting there that you know, will take a while to get the money back out of it. But I can't grow the 15 acres of sweet corn without it the way I work. I work 40 hours a week, so I'm farming, you know, of evenings and on the weekends and stuff. And I cannot plant 15 acres of corn by hand. It's just me. Can't do it. You know, there's just time won't work it out. So you got to have those pieces of equipment. But anyhow, that's a little bit about luxury farm equipment. Just keep that in mind. We all want more. Every day I'm looking at classified ads for farm equipment. Every day. And we're always looking for more. Most of us are. But you got to be careful about these things. If you like what we're doing, please hit that subscribe button. Hit the little notification bell so you'll know when we post a video. Thanks for watching. If you see a video you like, hit that thumbs up button. Have a question or a comment, we'll be sure to ask it. We'll talk to you later.